Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by building out the 5 positions of the minor pentatonic scale. All right, in case you don't know these, they're going to be in your PDF or your booklet, and I'm going to have them right here for you to watch. Now, I'm going to build each one of these, and then you can memorize these as needed. Now, don't feel like you have to do all 5 of these before you move on to anything else. They're just, ultimately, it's nice to know more of your fretboard because, as I've been saying through this whole course, you have more availability for creativity. So let's start off by doing the first position of minor pentatonic, and I'm going to be doing all of these in A minor pentatonic, all right? So here we go. All right, the second position of minor pentatonic in A, we'd start at the 8th fret. The third position of minor pentatonic. The fourth position of minor pentatonic. The fifth position of minor pentatonic. The octave of the first position, which is going to be the 17th fret. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about why they're connecting together, how they're connecting together, even though they all look vastly different from each other. Now, what you have to understand is if we were playing an A minor pentatonic, again, our notes would be A, C, D, E, and G. Okay? Now, needless to say, there are A's and C's and D's and E's and G's all over this fretboard, not just in this one position, right? But if we were to take, for instance, the notes A, C, D, E, and G, and we were to place them just on the 6th string, okay, we'd wind up with A and C and D and E and G. And what I want you to notice is the 5 positions that I just played through each start on one of those corresponding notes. The first position starts on the A, the second position starts on the C, the third position starts on the D, the fourth position on the E, and the 5th position on the G, and then it starts all over. A, C, D, until you run out of frets. Now that also means that below this first position, you've got other positions too. If your first position, is sitting here, your 5th position would be here on the 3rd fret because that note is G. And your 4th position would actually be open because that's E. So if you think about playing here, it's the same as playing here, 1 octave lower. So that's the premise of how we're using these notes. And every time I'm moving up, I'm just playing the same notes over and over and over. So if you think about it, when I'm in the first position, I'm playing A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. When I move to the 2nd position and start on this C, which is the 2nd note, I'm playing the same notes. They're just in a different order now. C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D. So as I move up through the positions, I'm not playing different notes. I'm playing the exact same notes. It's just the positions look different. Now, one more thing to explain to you, if this is new to you, if you look at the position, like let's look at that first position of A minor pentatonic. If you look at it, let's look at the left side and the right side, or the front side and the back side, if you will. The front side is all 5s. The back side is 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. So the back side, 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, is the front side of the second position. 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. So each position connects together like a puzzle piece. All right? If the first position, whatever it is that you're playing, used these frets, when you go to the next position, it's still going to use those frets. So it's not like all of a sudden you're going to start using 6th fret or something like that, because that would be a different note. That's not happening. Okay, we're playing the same notes every single time. So I call those membranes or threads. You want to learn to visualize that. So if you're like all the stuff we've been talking about up to this point, if you want to meander and do different things like that, what you're basically trying to do, let's say you're using the first and second positions. What you're trying to do is visualize that membrane in the center, and then the 5s over here, and the 8, 8, or excuse me, 10, 10, 10, 9, 10, 10 that's existing over here. So that way you can kind of see both positions connected together at the same time. Or maybe you want to see the first position and the 5th position, right? So then you're looking at that 5th fret there, which is the front side of the first position. That's your membrane. So when you do the 5th position, it's now the back side of that position, and they'll both share that spot. That's a really nice way of being able to connect these together. Now, as I explained earlier in the course, there's a lot of ways of practicing these things. If you're new to positions and things like that, the most important thing for me with learning these positions on the guitar is you need to know them on an absolute level. Okay? If you don't really know the position, you're not really going to be able to use it when you improvise, because every time you get there, your brain's going to go, well, I don't really know how this goes, so I should practice it. And now all of a sudden you're not playing anymore, you're not improvising, you're not soloing, you're playing a scale, which is a lot of times why when people go to solo, they go, why do my solos sound like scales? Because you're playing it like a scale. So you've got to practice, route practice, if you remember me talking about that. You've got to practice by route over and over and over, developing the fingering, developing the practice, right? The speed, the technique, all that stuff, the comfortability, keeping the strings deadened, all that stuff for each subsequent position. And then you start getting into the meandering thing. And you can start moving around the guitar with the positions that you're feeling good with. The downside to this education is that sometimes people get so obsessed with trying to learn all these positions that they don't practice all the other stuff we've talked about, right? So there's got to be a balance. Spend a little time each day practicing, get to know 2 positions really well before you worry about knowing 4, but not really good, right? Because 4 positions that you don't really know gives you nothing, right? I always tell people the most important thing with learning how to play guitar is that if you kind of know something, you don't really know it. You can't kind of know something, especially when you're under pressure, you're nervous, you're with other musicians, you're performing on stage. If you kind of know something, you don't know it. You want to really know something. So I'd much rather have you know 2 positions really well than 3 or 4 positions, but you don't really know them. Does that make sense? So that's the 5 positions of minor pentatonic. If you wanted to be in the key of G, you would simply take this whole idea and you'd move it down 2 frets to G. Now that means you need to know the notes on your 6th string, obviously, which you should anyway, right? If you want to be in the key of D minor, you would take this entire thing, move the first position to the 10th fret, D minor, and everything else would attach the same way. Obviously, they all attach the same way all the time because the pitches need to maintain every time. So your first position is always going to look like this in minor pentatonic. Your 5th position would be below that. Your 4th position below that. You know what I mean? So that's the way they're always going to connect together. So that's a benefit for a guitar player because I always think of it like a treadmill. You're just shifting it back and forth, right? And once you've found the position that you're in, they all just go up. And then when you can't go any further, that flips over and starts on the other side, right? Like a treadmill. So think about that a little bit. And obviously you can come to this anytime you need to and practice these things. But again, don't get overly obsessed about it. Just make it part of your regimen of practicing. Get to know one position really well, get to know another one, connect those together, and use all of the creative elements I've been telling you about. Okay. And then grab another one. Learn those 3. Use your creative elements. Okay. There are lots of very famous guitar players out there, past and present, that don't know their entire fretboard. And that's okay. I mean, they make amazing music. You can too, right? I'm not discouraging you from learning the whole thing. I'm going to stop talking here, but I'm just saying do it within reason. Learn to be creative with what you got, then expand out. Learn some more. Get creative with it, then expand out. Okay?